Now joined by the insiders Chris Johnston and Pierre LeBrun. Connor McDavid back on the ice after leaving practice early on Sunday, and he's back in the spotlight, Chris.
100%. And look, you're the face of the sport in some ways. You're the face of certainly this Oilers franchise, as Connor McDavid is. It's expected that players like that win a Stanley Cup, right? And you get that feeling, even talking to some of his teammates here at Media Day. You know, Leon Draisaitl was saying this is everything he's worked for, everything he's grinded through. All the times he's played through injury was all to win this cup. You know, even Stan Bowman mentioned when he was hired last summer as the Oilers GM, went and sat down with McDavid, he said all we talked about was a Stanley Cup. He's singularly focused on this. And so this is the ultimate team sport. The Oilers will only ever get a chance to lift that trophy if they're all pulling on the rope. But the guy at the front of the line is obviously McDavid. And, you know, he was pretty focused himself, I thought, when speaking to reporters, you know, kind of what you expect from him. But this is a massive 2 weeks for him and his teammates.
I had a chance to speak with Paul Coffey, the Hall of Famer, and, of course, assistant coach of the Oilers right now. And I asked him about being on that team with Wayne Gretzky in 83 that lost to the Islanders and then a year later wins the Stanley Cup. Could there be a comparison? Can you draw a parallel to the kind of pressure that Gretzky felt in that moment that Connor McDavid feels today? And Coffey said, yeah. And he goes, he remembers after they lost to the Islanders, Gretzky didn't want to leave the dressing room, and he turned to Coffey and he said, I'll never be as great as guys like Brian Trottier and Guy Lafleur if I don't win a Stanley Cup. And Coffey said, that's when I knew we would come back and win the cup a year later. So listen, that doesn't mean McDavid's going to win now, but as Coffey says, that's what those players at that level that carry a league, that carry a team, believe they have to do. They believe they need a cup to solidify their legacy.
Pressure is on, the stakes are so high, but it feels like a relaxed Oilers group, maybe more calm than last year, Pierre?
So that's a word that came up a lot on Media Day here in the different media availabilities. Darnell Nurse saying we're a lot calmer this time around. You know, not running around worried about ticket requests and being here for the first time. As Darnell Nurse said, I've learned to say no. And, you know, Jake Wallman, who wasn't even here with the Oilers last year, he goes, I don't know what it is, but these guys are making me feel calm because of the fact that they're prepared for this, that they know what is coming around the corner here, being in their second straight Stanley Cup final. So they happen to be playing a team that probably feels the same way. That's the only thing. But certainly Edmonton not as wide-eyed the second time around.
And one thing I'd add, John Klingberg signed mid-season. This is his fifth NHL team. He said he thinks it's because there's so many veterans. He said everyone just knows where they're supposed to be on the ice. He said off the ice, everyone knows how to act. And he said of all the experiences he's had, and he went to a cup final with Dallas back a couple years ago, that he's never seen a team this just even-keeled. And obviously that's been a big part of Edmonton's success this spring.
At the start of the day, I was asking you guys, like, who's going to be the star of Media Day? And we're, you know, saying Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, McDavid. Was the Perry family maybe the star of the Oilers' availability, Chris?
Yeah, that would be Corey and his young son Griffin, who not only sat with Dad throughout his lengthy media session, was mouthing the words to some of the answers, and, you know, is a pretty dialed-in guy. Spends a lot of time around the Oilers, you know, likes to get on the ice, is a big hockey fanatic. And so probably the star of the show. You know, and interesting from Corey Perry. He's in his 20th NHL season. This is his fourth cup final in 6 years. Pretty, you know, crazy numbers all around. He said he's never thought about retirement, and he's not going to think about it this summer. No matter how this goes for Edmonton, he's not, you know, looking to go out on top or anything like that. He'll be back for a 21st season. So he made a little news in there too.
Brad Marchand on one team, Corey Perry on the other. What else do I have to tell you about what may transpire here in terms of between the whistles in this series?
We saw Scotty Bowman here. Obviously, his son is the general manager of the Oilers, Stan, and Chris Knobloch, the first coach since Scotty Bowman to make it to the final of the Stanley Cup in his first 2 seasons as an NHL coach, and perhaps had a chance to chat.
Yeah, I just happened to walk by one of the offices that the Oilers have, and Chris Knobloch was sitting there at the table with the great Scotty Bowman. You can just imagine what that conversation would have been like, and how much Chris Knobloch is just trying to soak all that in from a guy like Scotty Bowman, who his name is all over the Stanley Cup and has been in this moment so many times. So pretty cool moment.
All right, we're going to go hear what the Florida Panthers have to say. We'll be back later in the day to break that all down.